All right, ladies and gentlemen, every time we talk about investments and returns, every time we talk about investment, two words here. Number one is investments, and what we call returns, right? Now, two words, very important, investments and returns. Then there is something that should always come into your mind. Something very important as long as these two are concerned, the word risk. Risk should always come into your mind. If you are an investor and you want returns out of that particular investment, then risk should always come into your mind. The reason why I'm making this particular video is because there are so many investors outside there that do not know that returns and investments go hand in hand with risk. If you want returns, then you need to take a certain level of risk, or you need to take risk for you to gain that return. Now, the more the returns you gain, the higher the risk you take, or the higher the risk, the higher the return, and vice versa. The lower the risk, the lower the returns. Now, this video is all about different kind of risks that you're supposed to undertake and when to undertake them, where, and how are you supposed to undertake these particular risks. Which calculated risks that are you supposed to undertake? Are there some risks that we can be associated with and they are not within our control, and some of them are actually within our control? I'm about to answer that question, so that whenever you are doing investments, you actually know what you are doing and the kind of risks that are within your control, and those that you can avoid, and those that are beyond you, you cannot avoid. All right. That's why I'm not going to dive into investments and I'm not going to dive into returns. I'm going to talk about risks. So I'm going to wrap this, right? And ladies and gentlemen, before I continue, remember my name is Sir John Mweri. I'm a professional accountant with ex-FinOp accountancy and insurance consultancy. And as you all know, I normally talk about investment businesses, investment portfolios, and so on. Anything that is concerning investment and businesses and getting money and becoming rich, I normally come here so that I can give you information so that we can grow each other's mind. And that's why that is another reason for you to subscribe to this channel, this YouTube channel of mine, if you are watching this video from YouTube. And it's another reason to follow me in TikTok if you are watching this same video in TikTok. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, give me a like, and leave a comment there. As well as if you are watching this video from TikTok, make sure you follow me, give me a like, and give me a comment on the comment section so that I can know what you are thinking about this particular video. All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, without wasting time, let's talk about risk. Now, without having to use a lot of English, I'm just going to mention what is risk in layman's language. We normally refer these to uncertainties. All right. Uncertainties. Now, what are uncertainties? Uncertainties are those things or those events or occurrences that could occur but you are not aware. For example, if you decide to do some farming right now, if you decide to do some farming, and when you decide to do some farming, you actually decide that you are going to do farm. You can do potatoes, all right? You can do potatoes. For those who don't know what is potatoes, hizi ni waru. Yeah, waru. You can decide to do potatoes. And then you are doing potatoes in January 2025. And then in January 2025, there is what we call rainfall. So kuna maji ya kutosha. So kuna mvua. And then you are saying that I'm anticipating that in the next 4 months, I'll be harvesting my potatoes. But have you included the risk factor associated with that particular because farming is an investment, by the way, because you are putting something in the land or in the farm so that at the end of the investment period, you can come up with something that you can harvest and actually sell and gain your get your income. Now, this is what I'm saying. have you included the risk factor in your potato farming investment or something like that? Now, imagine that in the next 2 months after you have planted your potatoes, it stops raining. What risk mitigating factors did you put so that you may not end up losing your potatoes? Did you think of irrigation pump? Did you think to put up a dam that contains water so that you can be able to cover the risk that could be associated with farming these particular potatoes? That is just an example. Now that you understand what is a risk is actually can either be in so many categories. We have risk in farming, risk in investments, and so on and so on. Right now, we are fixing the risk of lowering, going down of the interest rates of financial securities, such as money market funds and treasury bills. We have that particular risk, and we normally call it interest rate risk. All right. So, having understood what is risk, now I want us to talk about different categories of risk and know which risk is actually within you and you can be able to control it, or which risk is actually beyond you and you cannot be able to control. Because kuna watu wengine you normally give yourself problems that, oh, this one happens. By the way, there are some risks that are just beyond you and you cannot be able to control them. For example, if I draw a diagram here, and I'm going to call this risk. This is risk, all right? This is risk, and I'm going to draw something like this. And this is what we call, as you can see my diagram, if you can look at my diagram, we normally measure risk. I'm going to explain all this, all right? I'm going to explain all this. This is what we call unsystematic risk. Unsystematic risk. Or diversifiable. I'm going to give examples here. And this one is what we call systematic risk. Systematic risk or non-diversifiable risk. All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is can either be time or investment portfolio on this arrow here. Now, when you talk about unsystematic risk or non-diversifiable risk or diversifiable risks, unsystematic risks are going to be risks that are within your control. These are things that you can control. For example, if you are an organization, you can be able to control what we call employee turnover. Employee turnover. For example, if you are an individual and you want to undertake an investment, for example, the example I've just given here, like potato farming, you can be able to control the risk of putting up a dam, all right? A dam when it comes to potato farming. These are some of the things that you can be able to avoid or speculate that in certain time, something like this is going to happen. You can be able to speculate and you can actually be able to diversify. Now, when it comes to investments in financial securities, for example, you can say that, money market fund fulani, it can fail. I'm not going to put all my money there. So what am I going to do? I'm going to diversify. So you are anticipating. I cannot put all my money in SACCOs. Then what do? I'm going to put half in my market fund and put the other half in somewhere else. I can buy shares of the company. That is diversifying, all right? That is what you call diversifiable risk. But when it comes to systematic risk, these are risks that you cannot be able to control. They are not within your control. For example, COVID-19. COVID-19 came, some people lost jobs, some businesses went down, and so on and so on. So those are risks. Floods, political instability, and so on and so on. Those things that are not within your control are what we normally call systematic or non-diversifiable risks. You cannot diversify them or you cannot quantify them. They are not within your control. But these ones you can be able to control. I've just given examples just to make sure that you understand what is within you and what you can be able to control. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to this video. I have a lot to talk about this, but again, time is not on our side. Thank you and have a nice time. See you in my next video.